One of the questions people ask me the most is, what's it like living in the same house with two prairie dogs? I smile every time because it's really hard to put into words. One moment, you're quietly drinking your coffee in the kitchen. The next moment, two tiny paws are climbing onto your shoulder. You think you're home alone. Then two curious little faces peek at you from behind the couch. It's like living with two cartoon characters. And by the end of the day, you realize that house isn't just yours anymore. It's Pablo and Pedro's home too. But their story didn't begin this happily. I first met them through an adoption listing. We knew almost nothing about them. How old were they? What kind of life had they lived before? We had no answers to any of those questions. The only thing we knew was that they had nowhere else to go. I'll never forget the first moment I saw them. They were both hiding in the farthest corner of the room, curled up as close to each other as they could be, as if they were holding each other, saying, "It's going to be okay." They would flinch at the slightest movement. Whenever I got close to them, they would pull back in fear. The moment I looked into their eyes, my heart sank, because there wasn't only fear in them. There was disappointment too. They didn't know if they could ever trust people again. At that moment, I thought only one thing. If these two little prairie dogs were released into the wild, they probably wouldn't survive for very long. They had grown up around people. They didn't know how to find food on their own, how to escape danger, or how to build a colony. That was the day I made a promise to myself. If I was going to bring them home, this wouldn't be just a few weeks of help. I would be their family for the rest of their lives. I knew how big that decision was, because prairie dogs are not ordinary pets. I spent months doing research. I spoke with experts. I got advice from veterinarians. I listened to the experiences of experienced caretakers, their diet, their behavior, their healthcare needs. I tried to learn everything, because if I truly wanted to love them, I first had to understand them. The first few weeks were harder than I expected. The moment I walked into the room, they would hide. At the slightest sound, they would panic and run back to their burrow. I wanted to show them affection, but I knew sometimes the truest form of love is simply waiting without doing anything. So I didn't rush. I just wanted them to understand that I wasn't going to hurt them. There were even nights when I slept in the same room, because when they woke up, I wanted the first thing they saw to be not fear, but trust. Then one morning, a tiny miracle happened. Pablo was the first to be brave. He came out of his hiding place. At first, he stood there for a few seconds. Then he took 2 tiny steps toward me. He stopped, looked at me again, and gently touched my foot. I've rescued many animals in my life, but I'll never forget that tiny touch. Pedro was a little more cautious. He watched everything from a distance. When he saw Pablo coming closer to me, he slowly began to leave his fear behind too. That was the day the real change began. Weeks passed, months passed, and the 2 little prairie dogs who used to hide in fear became the happiest members of our home. They never wanted to be alone anymore. The moment I sat down on the couch, they would both climb onto me. My shoulder, my lap, my legs. Wherever there was an empty spot, that's where they would settle. For them, just being in the same room wasn't enough. They had to be touching me. Sometimes they would curl up on my shoulder while I was working. Sometimes they would fall asleep on my chest while I was watching TV. And the moment I stopped petting them, they would touch my hand with their tiny paws and look at me as if they were saying, "You're not done yet." Mornings were when the house truly came alive. As soon as they woke up, they would start chasing each other. They would race down the hallway, leap over one another, then come and sit beside me as if nothing had happened. But of course, they were experts at getting into trouble too, and they always did it together. If Pablo wandered into a place he wasn't supposed to be, a few seconds later, Pedro would always follow. I lost count of how many times they opened the laundry basket and hid inside, and I found them sleeping, curled up together more times than I can remember, as if it were the most comfortable bed in the world. Their personalities, however, are completely different. Pablo is like a mischievous child who never grows up. The moment he realizes I'm about to go outside, he starts running around like crazy with excitement. Pedro, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Quiet, calm. Wherever I go, he quietly follows behind me. But they do have one thing in common. They are never apart from each other. Wherever one of them is, the other is always there too. I think that's exactly what makes them so special. They didn't just become my family. They became each other's family first. Even today, when people ask me, should everyone have prairie dogs as pets? My answer is still the same. No, absolutely not. They are unique animals that still carry their wild instincts. They need the right diet, constant attention, patience, knowledge, and a lifelong commitment. They are not animals to adopt just because they look cute on the internet. Pablo and Pedro make me smile every single day. They've given me memories I'll never forget. But I always say this: the day you bring an animal into your home, you don't just gain a new friend, you also accept the responsibility for their entire life. That's what real love is, carrying that responsibility until the very end. Don't forget to like the video and leave a comment. Thank you for watching.